I'm feeling more and more like I live in Fahrenheit, the number. And I don't particularly enjoy this book. I think that Ray Bradbury, he was a pretty decent author and he's loved for a reason. And I do appreciate this book as an introduction, to the concept of a dystopia and the concept of the world that we currently reside in. But I personally just don't enjoy it as much because I know a little bit more about him as a person, like his anti-communist and anti-Soviet views that he shared in some interviews. They kind of rub me the wrong way, but I understand, of course, he was the product of his time. It was all fine and dandy to be anti-communist and anti-Soviet Union at the time. But the reason why I feel like I live not in 1984, which everybody likes to compare our modern times to, and by the way, George Orwell was not a good person at all, and he was anti-communist, and he did a lot of damage to his local communities, leftist communities. So yeah, personally, I don't think that 1984 is the book that we should be referring to very often, because he supposedly wanted to show that the Soviet Union is just as bad, which was a blatant lie and a piece of propaganda that was sponsored by the intelligence agencies. I don't know what they had in the UK, I don't remember. But the reason why I feel like I'm in Fahrenheit is because of the details. So for the past 6 months or so, I was falling asleep with my earbuds in, just listening to some podcasts, listening to Sean, predominantly one of my favorite YouTubers. And I just found it so comforting. And now I cannot fall asleep without listening to some calming voice telling me about the truth. I remembered recently that Mildred, Montag's wife, she also would all night long spend in her little seashells, and she would pump herself so much with sleeping pills that she nearly died. Well, I don't do sleeping pills, but just this fact of this description, this very vivid description of how she lies there in the dark, her body almost dead and cold, lifeless, and her just staring at the ceiling or whatever, and these voices coming into her head from her seashells, and just the level of desperation, the level of alienation. This is what many of us are currently going through, and myself included. So I feel dread when it's completely quiet at night and I'm all alone. Not because I'm afraid of some outside thing. I'm afraid of what we have done as people to this world. And I'm afraid of that emptiness that resides within us. But from, let's say, a Zen Buddhist perspective, I know I should embrace it, but this fear, it is primordial. It is a fear of being alone, and it is a fear of mortality. It is this fear of the unknown as well, combined together. When you feel so alienated from other people, you just end up becoming a Mildred. And then there is another little bit in the book that I remember very vividly, when Montag tried to talk to Mildred and her friends, her female friends, about, those recent truths he discovered. He wasn't yet able to explain it to himself, let alone others. So, and those women, the things they said to him, like about war and about how one of these women's husbands died in war, and her second husband, I think too, there was this whole thing about how she was repeating, like, quick death, quick and painless death. That's what they say. And it just struck me, like, nowadays, we don't have the same war propaganda like we used to, but it is a powerful image nonetheless. And these women, they represented different stages of denial and the suppressed grief. And I just, sometimes in my life, in my little daily mundane interactions, I notice that I begin doing similar things. I'm like, I can't think of war no more. I can't think of the dying children no more, because I gotta be grinding for that capitalist machine. So I have to soothe myself somehow. So, whether it be listening to podcasts and music and audiobooks into oblivion until you fall into the slumber of sleep, or, people choose their poison, whatever it is. And these things develop into addictions. And I think I mentioned that I do have a shopping addiction, which is kind of like a safer addiction, but it's still really something that's bothering me. I will be dealing with it very seriously soon, because I just cannot continue giving my time and my resources to those corporations that are contributing to the death of millions of people. And yeah, I'm going to try and learn to do more things myself, especially bearing in mind that I will probably have more time because I will need to quit my job that is killing me. But I just feel like I'm in this freaking dystopia, and I've shared that a million times before. Like, I feel like I'm in a dystopia. But those little details, those little things, when you're like, we are so similar, like in Fahrenheit, talking about books and how everything became so shortened and so quick, and all those ads that they were surrounded with, like, that is very similar to what we have now. And that is not to say that Bradbury was some kind of prophet. We all can observe our conditions, and we all can come to conclusions that may or may not be fulfilled later down the road, because if we are able to analyze the current situation, we can kind of foresee what's going to happen. And in our situation, it's worse than Fahrenheit. It's going to keep getting worse. So our only hope is in organizing together. Because even if nothing comes of it, even if there's no revolution, we still have the people, right? Maybe it was the friends that we made along the way. And don't you feel lonely and alienated from your fellow men? Don't you wish you could just talk to people about all of these little or big worries? Don't you just wish you could connect in some kind of human capacity to them without all of these thoughts of profit and benefit and how is this going to affect your life in a major way? Like, enjoy this connection with this other person if you can. If you can find these people that you can talk to and connect to on a regular basis, do this. It is essential. This is how you build community. You just start talking to people, you just start connecting to people, and I know it's hard, but we've got to do it. Otherwise, we're going to feel more and more alienated and continuously engage in activities that may end up becoming addictions. And ultimately, it's going to be a miserable life for us, whether we are directly affected by war and or revolution, or whether we're not. It is still affecting us right now. So organizing and community building is necessary for our own mental health, just as it is necessary for the health of the entire humanity, just as it is necessary for the survival of humanity and possibly millions of other species on Earth. So yeah, this is just something I wanted to share today. I hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you sometime later.